Next up, we got a SpaceX rocket leaves company Starlink satellites in wrong orbit. So apparently a SpaceX rocket, had some sort of a malfunction and it did not release those satellites in an orbit where it should have. Somebody said it exploded. I don't think that's the case, but we're gonna read about it here. Cape Canaveral, Florida. A SpaceX rocket has failed for the first time in nearly a decade, leaving the company's internet satellite in an orbit so low that they are doomed to fall through the atmosphere and burn up. Well, I mean, if it's the first time in nearly a decade, then I don't think that's that big of a deal. Obviously, like, you cannot have 100% success rate. So, I mean, this was given it would happen eventually. We're gonna read the article, however, I'm telling you right now that this is not that big of a deal. Well, if somebody gets hurt, then obviously that's going to raise an eyebrows. However, you have to take into consideration just how many of these rockets have been already launched and that in nearly a decade that there hasn't been any incident. So whilst this definitely raises eyebrows about enhancement of security of these rockets, it is not that alarming. The Falcon 9 rocket blasted off California on Thursday night carrying 20 Starlink satellites. Several minutes into the flight, the upper stage engine malfunctioned. SpaceX on Friday blamed a liquid oxygen leak. Well, this seems something that they should have seen before. This seems like a negligence on the human part. Somebody didn't do his job and did not test something properly. Because I mean, liquid oxygen leak does not seem like something that is exactly a accident. This seems like a negligence. The company said flight controls managed to make contact with half of the satellites and attempted to boost them to a higher orbit using onboard ion thrusters, but with the low end of their orbit only 84 miles, 135 kilometers above Earth, less than half what was intended. Our maximum available thrust is unlikely to be enough to successfully raise the satellites, the company said via Twitter. SpaceX said the satellites will re-enter the atmosphere and burn up. There was no mention of when they might come down. Well, if you're gonna see something coming down from the night sky or maybe day sky, then you're gonna know it's from Elon Musk. More than 6,000 orbiting Starlinks currently provide internet service to customers in some of the most remote corners of the world. And I do not really like that we are launching so many satellites. I think it's a space pollution, and as far as I know, we do not have any sort of way to actually clean our orbit. So basically, we are polluting our orbit with no real ability to clean it up, so that's not ideal. And as was mentioned, these Starlink satellites have some sort of ion thrusters to prevent a collision or to correct their orbit route. If they didn't, then there would be an increased chance a collision could happen, and that could spiral into a domino effect where there would be a lot of ways randomly flying around and it would be hitting other satellites that would cause even more pollution, which in turn would down even more satellites, and on and on. You can make the picture just how devastating it would be, and it could also lock us from exploring space, so I'm very cautious about that. I do not like it. I do not like sending satellites into our low orbit. And even though he said that our orbit is theoretically could fit millions of satellites, however, if those satellites just break into millions of pieces, then suddenly those millions of satellites will turn into like thousands of satellites that can orbit Earth, and it would get even lower and lower. So yeah, do not pollute our own orbit. We already have enough shit there. Or at least do not pollute the orbit unless you find a way to actually clean it, which is easier said than done, because that garbage around our orbit is flying at an incredible pace. Like if it would hit you, it would not evaporate you, but it would be a tremendous force. Like even the tiniest of particle can destroy a whole satellite, or even the international something where the astronauts are. It could theoretically destroy it. A tiny grain of particle or polluted waste. So yeah, we should be considerate about space pollution. I'm gonna take a sip of water. The Federal Aviation Administration said the problem must be fixed before Falcon rockets can fly again, obviously. It was not known if or how the accident might impact SpaceX upcoming crew flights. A billionaire space flight is scheduled for July 31st from Florida, with plans for first private spacewalk followed in mid-August by an astronaut flight to the International Space Station for NASA. Yes, International Space Station, that was the name I was looking for. What the heck is this? Killing Pixies, what the heck was that? The tech entrepreneur who will lead the private flight, Jared Isaacman, said Friday that SpaceX's Falcon 9 has an incredible track record and as well as an emergency escape system. The last launch failure occurred in 2015 during a space station cargo run. Another rocket exploded the following year during testing on the ground. Well, if the rocket explodes during the testing with no crew or any cargo, then it's completely fine. I know a lot of people were kind of memeing Elon Musk when his rocket just broke the concrete, whatever that was, ground when he was launching his the strongest rocket possible, the strongest rocket that was available at the time. So it did a lot of damage to the launching grounds. However, the tests are for this exact case. It is for this exact reason we do tests, to flush out any sort of incompatibilities and to polish the product, as well as find any potential errors we need to fix. So how this happened is definitely, it definitely showed quite a bit about the rocket. However, it definitely didn't need to be memed that much, because on the one hand, sure, it did not go well. On the other hand, it was quite powerful. You have to give it to it. It was strong. However, there seems to be a need for a polishment, or maybe a change of a philosophy on how do we actually transfer the cargo to the space, instead of launching it, directly from ground to up, maybe to find something different. Because we were gonna need even stronger rockets, so that raises questions just how do we actually create those starting ramps for them so they are not destroyed by the first or third launch. SpaceX's Elon Musk said the high fly rate will make it easier to identify and correct the problem. The Associated Press Health and Science Department received support from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute Science and Educational Media Group. The AP is solely responsible for all content, I see. So yeah, once again, a pretty short article. As I said, those issues will get polished. And the error with the rocket, there wasn't any error since 2015. And this seemed like a negligence, if anything. Because, if this was the first time it happened, liquid oxygen, leak, then this definitely smells like a negligence from a human part, and not a problem with the rocket actually. Or maybe a lack of maintenance is also possible. So yeah,